This is WJTV News Channel 12 this morning.
We want God to give us a big crown of life and to give us all of these eternal possessions and reward. But I often say, and it's a simple thing, or a simple way of saying, if you want to hear God say, well done, you've got to do something.
A discussion on current events and the role the church plays with its members. It's Sunday morning. We're putting faith in focus. Nazareth Lee Missionary Baptist Church, it's right off of campus from Jackson State University, and last year it welcomed a new pastor to the pulpit. Edgar Lewis is just 26 years old. Young, right? Well, he gathered a good amount of experience before arriving, around 5 years, but he is testing out some new ideas. Education on current events is one of the things that he is looking at. He's putting faith in focus. Brenda Scott says hello to her fellow churchgoers during service at Nazareth Lee MB. Like others here, she has many responsibilities to different church groups, including the choir.
The church teaches compassion. It teaches long-suffering, endurance. The fruits of the Spirit is very important on how we treat our neighbors.
She also has a secular job. For the past 26 years, she's worked with the State Employees Union as well as with employees for the city of Jackson. Now she's been asked to share her skills with the church.
We made her our External Affairs Director, and that was an office and a position that had never been introduced to this ministry before. And since Sister Scott is engaged in public affairs and external affairs outside of the church, but to give us a sense of how we belong. And I asked her to not leave the church out, engage us in public affairs and social justice affairs, because that's where we belong. The church has always been a pillar in the community and a place for justice, and believe it or not, people will say church and politics doesn't mix. Church and state are separate, but David was prime minister of Israel.
The church is looking to start a program called Moral Mondays, basically current event education. Now, this is all new for the church, so it is still in development. However, church leadership is making it a priority.
I know what workers are going through on a daily basis, working the 2 jobs to make ends meet, being away from their families and no longer having that village to assist in the raising of their kids and things like that. So whatever happens in the state legislature or in any legislative body has a direct effect on public workers, and therefore have an effect on the people who depend on those services, who are the citizens of that particular area.
And if you want to see your church featured on Faith in Focus, head over to WJTV.com and look for Jacob's contact info in the Faith section. But for now, stay tuned. I'll have one last check.
This is a grill. This is a copy of a mortgage. And this is what you call satisfaction. But let's back up closer to the church's beginnings.
Come back in.
Augustine Kelly says she remembers. Now she's the clerk at Sweet Rest.
This bench here, I joined this church at the age of 9. I mean, the time that I joined the church, it was just a little frame church. It's very small, with the heater in it and wood-burning heater.
Well, I've been here 18 years, and when I arrived at this church, they'd already started talking about building a church.
And Pastor Joseph Pridgeon says the process getting here was never what you'd call simple.
We raised money all along the way, and there were challenges all along the way. There were challenges in getting the land, finding a place to build. There were challenges in finding a bank to finance it. We were not a large congregation. As a matter of fact, one bank told us that we didn't have enough giving units.
This church has grown tremendously. It's amazing what a new building will do for you.
We therefore meet joyfully today to transform this bond of indebtedness into the incense of humble gratitude.
And a commitment by members coupled with faith and a giving campaign led to this moment with a firefighter standing by.
We just paid for it. We don't want to burn it up, y'all.
To set this thing on fire is a celebration of the faithfulness of our God. A little over 12 years ago, we made a commitment to a 20-year mortgage. And not only has God been faithful to allow us to meet those notes, but to pay the mortgage off early.
And this building may not even be the church's last.
I think in the future we'll be looking at a multi-purpose building.
For decades, Richland United Methodist Church has met in this building. The original members, however, started it across the street.
Basically, this is an old community church. It's been here since 1853 that we're aware of. It started across the street as a two-room school in one end of the building and one room, and the church in the other. And of course, they use both rooms for the school.
And their new space,
And we've combined all of that into one big new building.
is sprawling in comparison to their current building. In addition to expanding their youth ministry, the church is also organizing new outreach programs exploring recovery, grief, and divorce.
They've been trying to do this for about 10 years. We anticipate being able to be completely moved in February.
But what does it mean for the current building? The land is being sold to a neighboring school in the deal, and although the new church is full of the latest and greatest amenities,
So this is a new refrigerator and a new warmer.
church leadership says they understand it's how they reach out to people that will determine whether the move across the street to where the church started is successful.
And you have to start where they are. You know, it's not about trying to get people locked into my way of believing. I tell people all the time, everybody has to have his, her own faith, and O-W-N-E-D, owned faith.
In Rankin County, Jacob Kittilstad, WJTV News Channel 12.